we asked the price point, and they said that they compared it to Lululemon
Okay.
and Viari,
Uh-huh.
and Viari,
Okay.
and um, they said they would probably pay about $110, and that was uh, pretty similar across the board,
Okay.
um, to what everybody had said. And so, again, are we being able to offer those premium quality things at an affordable price? I saw this. I met this guy. He does marketing. That's what his big thing is. It was actually at Nathan Bird's um,
Breakfast
event.
Palooza.
Yeah, his breakfast blues. I met a
Yep.
guy that his name's Tanner. He does marketing. He's really good at what he does, but he just told me, he's like, love your shirt. Is it a Lulu? And I said, no, this is my brand. And he said, well, I would never know that it's yours because I can't see the actual logo on it. And so that actually put some thought into it too, like product or branding. As far as branding goes, are we doing the best to our brand to brand it in a way that people know it's us?
Mm.
Um, but I mean, again, he's like, I would take 5 or 6 of those shirts, you know.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, how much are they? Like $80, $60? And I said $25. And his jaw dropped. And so, but to me, those are all wins. Again, trying to accomplish what we want to accomplish, and looking at is our product quality on point with what we want to do. Being able to offer this at an affordable price. Last one, I went hiking this last weekend and hiked over 70,000 steps.
Wow.
In 3 days.
Okay.
And it was pretty miserable. I in no frame of mind consider myself a hiker, but I wore one of my hats that we talked about it being. It's called a hydro hat, meaning that you can get it wet and float some water and all these things. So when I was done with my hike, I was just sweating profusely, and I had actually ran about 3 miles of the 7 mile hike, and so when I got home, I let it sit, it dried, and there were stains on it, right? Just like every other hat. And I was like, oh, maybe this isn't the quality that we're looking for. Maybe we need to readjust. But then I took the hat and I just rinsed it under the water, and I pulled it out, and the sweat stains were all gone.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, this is the quality that we're looking for. This is what we're trying to accomplish with this.
These are the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, these are the droids you're looking for, because we compare our hats a lot to melon hats, and theirs is the same way.
Right.
So I we were right where we need to be with our marketing and with our product, and those were all just huge wins for me. So
that is awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'm always a big fan of being the premium product or service, because it allows for the right profit margins. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you're looking at that. Okay, so let's do our inspirations this week. Let's go to Annie first.
I'm not prepared today.
All right, let's do Annie second. Let's do Roxy first.
I would probably say that my inspiration would be, that gal that I was just talking about. It made me realize, because I was telling her how I would get, how I'm nervous. Like, I'm a talker and I'm friendly, but I always think I'm going to say something wrong or whatever. And on a live feed to get on there. And so my inspiration is that she's like, just start it, just do it. You just she's like, I used to hate doing it. Now she's got 9,000 followers. And so I just realized that I just need to just get on and do it. And I believe it'll help followers. You know, I have a lot of knowledge to give people, and that's probably the best way to do it, is just start to get on and start to do these things that I'm afraid of.
I love that. Heck yeah. Just time to start moving.
Yeah.
That's
Because if I can create a momentum with her, just imagine what momentum I can create with myself.
100%. And it's super easy just to put a phone in front of your face and just start going.
Yeah, I just remember when we did that video, how like I just get nervous, or I get like, I'm worried about, oh, this piece of hair is out of place or whatever stupid stuff, you know? And it's like, people aren't going to pay attention to that.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah.
What's your 6-month goal? Do you have a goal for the rest of the year?
Nope, I haven't really explored that, to be honest.
Okay. Why don't you explore that, but just consider each video you make one step closer to that goal.
My goal is always to reach more people and to keep growing, for sure.
Yeah.
So that would probably be beneficial, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, that's awesome, Roxy. Thanks. John,
Thanks.
what inspiration have you had this week?
It's always finding that mute button. I think for me, as far as inspiration goes, is looking at, again, I had the opportunity to meet with a guy that, when he looked at the quality of our stuff, he actually wants to switch all of his custom apparel to our stuff and co-brand it with us. And he told me, he's like, you know, I spend over $80,000 in apparel every year for my team. And so he's like, I'm ready to jump on with you. So I actually have a meeting in 35 minutes with him to talk about how we can get all of his employees in Honeyware and start building out his custom apparel as well.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's amazing. And who's that with?
It's with a client that owns a pest control and a solar company.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So.
Very cool. Cool. Well, congratulations. How? Yeah, I'll come back to you. Let's go to Annie.
Okay, so I did have an inspiration this week.
Okay.
It's the thousands employed, millions are benefiting. I wrote it down. It's on my refrigerator.
Oh, I love it.
So, and my other win for this week was my Korean interpreter.
Your Korean interpreter, huh?
But from the last week's call, remember?
Oh yeah, you got an interpreter.
John.
Oh. How's that gone? How has that gone?
Well, we haven't met yet.
Yeah. I'll get you in touch with some really awesome people that speak a lot better than I do. But
Okay. And what is it? Oh, so that was my inspiration.
Okay.
That I guess my inspiration just that to keep going, to keep working.
Okay.
That will be there. There will be something at the end. But then I feel I feel fake, but that's different. A different thing.
Right.
At least I have the inspiration, right?
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I love that. Okay, so let's go to bottlenecks. Let's start with John. What bottlenecks have you had, and how is the Trello board going? And before I get into this, by the way, we're going to actually start the competition portion, John, for you starting next Monday. So getting used to the Trello board is really important.
Okay, awesome. So I think probably that's one of my bottlenecks is just making sure. I think we talked about it a little bit this last week about how I can become more familiar with it. Also, I think my bottleneck right now is just I want my manufacturers to be a little bit faster, and that's just such a hard thing to control when they're across the sea and across the oceans, and you can't push them any faster than they want to go. But we have found some really awesome manufacturers, and it's just making sure that we build those relationships as quickly as possible. So,
got it. Yep. Cool. So really, you kind of have a handle on it. You're getting it.
Yeah, it's just taking time, and that's what I feel like I don't want to waste is time.
Okay.
But I'm learning patience and all of it as well.
Okay.
And so as I'm more patient with it, I realize the process becomes faster.
Yeah.
As ironic as that sounds, that sometimes we have to slow down for things to speed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I should trademark that quote actually.
As you should, yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Annie. What are your bottlenecks?
Well, currently, I think focus. It's trying to focus on one thing because I have my house and then everything that needs to be done in my house, and then move. That's a whole business. This is turning into a different business, and then there's the salon, and then there's the online content that I want to move into, and that whole business. So really, just what can I delegate? Where do I put my focus every day, and not get bogged down by stupid stuff like my yard, and I don't know, just I feel like I'm always pulled in three directions. So just how to get a handle on that? How do I, prioritize?
Well, what do you feel like your priorities are right now?
I mean, I have to work, right? So creating a schedule so that I have a chunk of time where I'm actually behind a chair in the salon working.
Yeah.
And then the other priority is to finish my book, finish what we were working on last Tuesday, the online content.
Right.
That's a priority. My house is kind of taken care of for now, but I want to grow it. So I want to bring more revenue in, I guess, because that's really the easiest way to make more revenue. So that I can take more time off and get out from behind the chair. So okay, so that's more of a dream, right? The online stuff, that's a dream. there's what needs to happen today, things need to be repaired, things need to be hung up, I need to go to work, I need to go to the store to buy toilet paper and paper towels, I need to buy you know what I mean? There's so many layers.
There are. So this is something that my Olympic coach had me do at one point that I think would be beneficial for you, is every night write down 3 things that you need to do the next day. So there's just 3 things that you want to accomplish the next day, and you're committed to those 3 things. 3 things isn't that much. It's not a ton. So it's easy to commit to those 3 things. And so in the next day, you can schedule those things. One way or the other, just be committed to getting those 3 things done. And you'll find that you get a lot more done than you expect.
Yeah. Okay.
And feel free, if you want to text me those 3 things, at night,
Okay.
I will hold you accountable to that.
Okay. I like the Swiss cheese thing that you brought up last week too, where I need to make that.
Okay.
But I have everything kind of, I don't know. I guess I'm complicating it.
No, that's okay. I mean, if you want to make that one of your 3 things for today, that's a great idea.
Okay, yeah.
That's not a bad idea at all. And it's kind of a fun little process too that gets you very clear about what you need to be doing.
True.
Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, Roxy. Tell me about your bottlenecks.
Oh, boy. Employees.
Employees.
Or lack thereof.
The last one didn't work out, huh?
Well, no, she's still there. I'm still working with her. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I think maybe my employee I've had for 2.5 years, she's having a baby. So Saturday was her last day. So I almost think that those two, well, I know those two didn't really jive together. So I'm hoping that now that Aubrey's gone, but she will be coming back, that maybe Tish is her name, will step up and you know how some people just do better if they have to?
Yeah, sure.
So I'll be there with her too, which just means more work for me, but that's okay. You know, if I can get all those procedures in place, I mean, I've got the procedures now in place, the policies and stuff, but if I can just implement them,
okay.
So that because I'm going to need more employees. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I could possibly use 2 during the day. Some days it's hard to gauge, so I'm trying to figure that out. Like, how do you gauge what days you have more people staffed? Like with retail, it's hit or, like a store, it's hit or miss. Like I have, you know, obviously I told you it's been growing, but you know, what days do I decide to have an extra person there so that everybody is taken care of?
Right.
And how do I find that person that I can trust? Because I'm sure everybody here takes their business very personally, but and the people that are in there represent you. So how do I get the right people in there to represent me the way I want to be represented?
Well, there's 2 portions to this question. First off, how do you find the right person? But second off, how do you make sure that that person is doing the things that you need done? So sometimes you could actually get the wrong person, and if you have the right process and procedures, they'll be doing the things that need to be done. So, setting expectations, creating process and procedures, and having them just stick to those things could be everything. Now, when you're looking for the right person, I mean, there's a lot of online resources that you have where you can advertise your position. And there's a lot of processes and procedures in order to find the right person. So the copy of what you're putting out there, once you have interviews, what are you doing in the interview, and what expectations are you setting in the interview? And then how do you choose the right person? And you even have to look at personalities and things like that. So
how do you I've never interviewed anybody. How do you do that? This is all new to me. Like, it's like, so, you know, because before I've had family members in my shop. And so this is a whole new process for me. And is there like,
well, there's
common
there's a couple of things that you want to do when you're interviewing someone is, so you want to ask them a lot of questions, and at some point you want to see if they're asking you questions back, which is important because it means they're looking out for their own self-interest as well. You want to provide questions that will create some I want to say trauma. You want to create a difficult situation for them, a question that's difficult for them to answer, and see how they react to it. So you could ask them a question like, in previous jobs, have you ever dealt with a situation where there was an argument and you had to resolve something? Have you ever dealt with a difficult situation in the workplace, and tell me how you dealt with it and how other people in that situation dealt with it? And asking those type of questions gives you a window into how they deal with those difficult situations. And that's really what you want, is you want someone who's strong enough that they can deal with those situations in a healthy way. Otherwise, you're stuck with someone who can't problem solve and can't figure things out in healthy ways.
Hey Nate, can I?
That makes.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
So, I had to interview a lot of people as a school principal. Whenever we interviewed for teachers, it was, we want to know that they're teaching well, they're doing well, but it's just like you're saying, those hard questions of, you have a student that gets up and starts screaming in the middle of your class, what do you do? How do you handle the situation? And what are your steps to do it? And then also, I always like to find out if they can work well with their peers. So you have a teacher that comes into your room and says, you're doing this wrong. How do you handle that situation? Because I want to see their first reaction to that question, because maybe they're going to think about it for a minute and be like, oh, I would be so great and I'd work with them. But as soon as I asked that question, I'd always see teachers' faces go, and that tells me that they've had that conflict before and that they don't want to deal with that again.
No, yes, beautiful. That's an awesome example.
It's not going to be, not going to be their verbal response, but their physical response to it is going to be the main teller, So that's just my 2 cents.
I love that. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. In your case, in your shop, I don't know what kind of difficult situations there could be, but you could create something, ask them a question about that. Also, very telling is how they've dealt with other difficult situations in the past, because number one, it'll tell you maybe what they did in the past, but it'll also tell you how honest they are. Most people don't like talking about difficult situations. You can also ask them a difficult enough question for them that most people will whitewash it. And if they're whitewashing it, that's a less likely person that you want to hire. You want someone who's going to be fully honest. And they can say, you can even say, what was a time that you failed, and what do you think of that, and what's your conclusion of that situation? So in that situation, they're going to want to whitewash it. They're going to want to make it look good for them. And if they can just be honest and say, no, I screwed up. Like, it was a rough situation, and I learned from it, and I grew from it, and this is what I changed because of it. If they can give you an answer like that, then that's a really good employee.
That's a good one. I'm pretty good at reading, like John was saying, like reading people's body language. So that part I'll be okay with. So do you usually write down questions before? Like, is that, I guess, something I would want to have after a while, I'm sure it just becomes natural to you, but...
Yeah, to begin with, write them down. That way you don't have to think about it.
It does mean that you have to follow it either. So, you can have questions written down, but there might be something that pops into your mind, especially with particular individuals, that you can kind of gear it towards them and say, I kind of want to learn a little bit more about this person. And honestly, Roxy, one of the things that I would do is that I would think of the crazy situations that have really happened to you and put them in that situation and say, I had somebody come in yelling that they wanted some weed or something like it, or how would you handle the situation, and put them in that situation so that you can say, this doesn't happen every day. This one, it's like once in a blue moon, but if it did happen, what would you do? because you're going to learn a lot about that person pretty quickly.
And especially in your situation, if it has to do with people, if they're interfacing with people, you want to ask them questions about how they deal with people. If you're just hiring someone who's more of an assistant who deals with numbers and that kind of stuff, then you want to figure out how they deal with numbers.
Yeah, no, this is a definite people job. You know, I remember in the beginning, Michael, your brother, said something to me about you can't be everywhere. So if I'm wanting to grow, I've got to teach these people how to be like me, I guess, or some like. I'm just so big. I probably take it too much, like as far my feelings for people.
Right.
I make sure, obviously, they have a good experience. But I like just I think I show a lot of compassion. And so how do you portray that? You can't really portray that to other people. That kind of has to come from them. So
right.
I guess that's where finding the right person falls into place.
For sure. So you want to test those little things. So I think you get it. Yeah. Okay. So So to begin with, write down the questions, because you may get in the situation, then you're like, crap, I don't remember anything now. So you just have something there. I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to remember, right? So yeah.
Perfect.
Just have your little cheat sheet. Okay.
So I just wanted to say you're my other inspiration. So I've been telling everybody all week. When you asked me about how it was Hawaii, and I said it was great, and then you said, well, create a life that you don't have to get away from, or that create your own Hawaii.
Yeah.
And stuck with me, and that has definitely been like, he's right. And I've been portraying it to other people too, but I just had to tell you that. I just had to tell you, like, that's been ringing through my head all week long.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
It's true. Just create a life that you don't have to get away from.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad I inspired someone. That's good. So, since we only have 3 people, I have a little bit more time. If there's anything specifically that you guys want to talk about, I'm willing to talk about it for a minute. Otherwise, we can just be done.
I would like to know more about the Trello board.
Okay. Let's go over the Trello board. Let me bring it up, and I can even put the desktop up so you can see it. Okay, let's see here. I'm always trying to add more stuff to Trello boards to kind of help you guys out. I've been adding the last couple of days. Let's see. Because, strangely enough, I actually have my own Trello board that I do along with you guys. Okay, so let's bring this desktop up real quick. This one right here. You guys still there? Yeah, okay, you're there.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, can you see my screen?
Uh-huh.
Perfect.
Oh.
So, all right, so this is all the prep work that we should have done. So in here is the link and the user and password to get in and do all this prep work. We've done Sole Purpose together. We've done North Star together. Maybe some people haven't been to the different meetings. But you should have both of those things done, certainly at least by Monday. And Magic Wand and Persona Architecture are really important as well. John, have you done Persona Architecture yet?
Yes.
You have. Okay, good. Great. So then, these are the things you should be doing on a daily basis: mindset and business. So mindset is important. I'm creating videos, so there's videos about how to meditate and the intention behind meditation. I'll explain that really quickly. How to meditate is, it should be early in the morning. I recommend 5 o'clock in the morning. Get up before everybody in your household. Find a comfortable place, like go to the bathroom, eat something, drink something, get comfortable, and be in a dark room, and close your eyes and find a sound in the room. Right now I can hear a fan, so I would kind of focus on the sound of the fan. I close my eyes and focus on the sound of the fan, and just focus on that fan. And when your mind wanders, and it will, you bring your attention back to the fan. So it's like doing bicep curls, right? Every time it wanders, bring it back to the sound of the fan. It wanders, bring it back to the sound of the fan. And this does a couple of things. It helps your brain work out its focus. And so focus is really important to me. The focus is the power that creates worlds. And the second thing that it does, it allows you to, at some point, typically you get to a place where you kind of can't tell your nose from your toes. And that state is what I would call a resistance-less thought state. So there's no resistance in your thought at that point. And you want to feel that so that you can feel that throughout the rest of your day and try to create more situations where you don't have resistance in your thought. Because the reality is, we don't have the things that we desire only because we have a resistance to them. And if we can feel into a resistance-less thought state, we can create more of the things that we want. So those are kind of the two intentions you have for meditation. That's what it does for you. And actually, there's really one intention you should have when you go into the meditation, and that is to raise your vibration just a little bit. So by the time you're done, you should just feel a little bit better. So that's meditation. 3 wins. I would recommend that you actually write your 3 wins in the comments. So I write my 3 wins in the comments. And by the way, you check off every day that you do it, and you earn the poker chips. And when we start on Monday, you will uncheck everything, and then you will start checking things off again so that we can count them. Book of Positive Aspects is really, you can write in here if you want to, or you can have your own journal. I write it in here. And you just write a list of the things you're grateful for, or you appreciate, or things that you love in your life. And you start with all of the easiest things first. So if you just got done meditating and maybe you're in a comfortable chair, you can say, I'm thankful for this comfortable chair. I love this room that I'm in. I can feel my breathing, and that feels really good to me. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my kids. I love my home. I love my car. I love, my parents. I'm glad they're still around. I'm glad I have a good relationship with my brother. So you just go through a whole list of stuff. You just spend a few minutes and write that out. So for you guys, you don't have this yet. I'm going to be adding a couple of things to yours, which is affirmations, visualizations, read book, write book. Movement's already there. So affirmations are really simple. Affirmations, basically you figure out what you want in your life that you don't have currently, and you feel into whatever that is, and you feel into kind of what's keeping you from that internally. You kind of feel the resistance of whatever's keeping you from it, and you write an affirmation about whatever that resistance is. Let's see if I wrote down mine in here. Yeah. So one of those things for me is I feel resistance for time. So one of my affirmations is I'm on time and organized. Another one is I accomplish my intentions daily. So write those down, and you just repeat those in the morning, and if you can during the day, you can repeat those as well. Visualizations is really you go through your day and you visualize your whole day the way you want it to go. So for Annie, if she has those 3 intentions for the day, she'll visualize actually accomplishing those 3 intentions.
Nice.
Read book. I would recommend that you read at least 4 pages in a book, and you can just check that off. That's easy. Write book. So we're already doing the book outline and we're writing a book. Just make sure you spend 5 to 10 minutes writing in the book. Really simple. And then movement is any exercise or movement you want to do. It could be as simple as just taking a walk, or doing an actual workout regimen or training or whatever. So that one's easy for me because I do it on a daily basis. So once you do something like that in here, you just check off the day, which I haven't done the last couple days, but I have done the movement. So don't do that. Do it on a daily basis and check them off. Let's see. I'm just going back and checking them. Okay, so now we get into business. Now all of these business areas, you should focus on them a minimum, each one of these things, a minimum of 2 to 5 minutes every single day. Now all of these things, you should have a minimum of an hour per week. So if you focus on Monday, 2 minutes on prospecting, you may want to focus the full hour on Tuesday and get all your prospecting done at the beginning of the week. But that's true of all of these things. It's 1 hour of prospecting new clients per week, but you have to focus on each one of these for a minimum of 2 to 5 minutes a day, just because you're trying to create momentum. And if you're creating momentum, you can't just skip a day not thinking about it. It's actually the thinking about it and how to improve your business in these aspects that's going to give you a lot of momentum. So if every day you're thinking about, okay, prospecting, that means I'm getting new leads. How am I getting new leads, and how can I improve my business in getting new leads? And you just think about it for just a few minutes and write down a few things. And I would recommend that when you have those ideas, you write them in the comments here. Process procedures, same thing. We can go down the list. Client improvement, meaning how do you improve the client's overall experience with your company? Employee improvement. Okay, how can you improve your employees' experience with the company and your experience with that employee? Sales is easy. And all of these things also come down to process and procedures. So you can think about that with all these things as well. Marketing, business structure, networking, and the weekly review and plan should happen at the end of your week. You should review what happened the previous week, the good and the bad, and write it down kind of like a journal. And then you plan the next week and how you're going to improve from those things on the next week. And that way you can execute that plan every week, and you can kind of figure out what you want to do with that. And that's it. So it's fairly simple. I am uploading videos every day to kind of explain a lot of good practices in each of these areas. And yeah, it's just about the focus. Focus is the power that creates worlds, and you're all creating empires. So you must find a way to focus. That really, to me, is the most important work that you're going to do ever. Yeah.
So you said mine starts Monday?
Yeah.
Next week?
Yeah. I recommend you start doing it now, but
so
yeah.
Right. Okay. Then I start actually checking the boxes next week.
Yeah, so you can check the boxes starting today if you want to. You just have to erase them Monday and start over.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I gotta jump in that other meeting, but thank you.
Yeah, of course. Take care, John.
Thanks.
See ya.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, Annie, Roxy, do you guys have any other questions for me?
One of my bottlenecks with the salon is that I get people that fill out my job form every week, but then I go to reach out to them and I get nothing. So why did they go to all the trouble to fill out this 10 question form? Then when I send them a message, email, or text, I get no response. So I think I like the job form because then I have everyone's information and I can mark it. Yeah. But there's got to be, then it creates so much more time for me because I have to reach out to them. Either they don't answer, or then they text, and there's another 2 or 3 day text exchange where we try to figure out where I can do a consultation, what they want to book, etc., etc. I mean, it's just not very well, A, I'm losing a ton of, I feel like I lose a ton of business because no one even texts back. Like, why do they fill out that form? Anyway, I gotta figure out a different process.
So where are they filling this form out, and why are they filling it out?
It's on my website,
Okay.
and it's like, there's the new client and then the existing client, like, funnel. So the new clients, they go in and they answer these 10 questions and submit it, but then it just goes dead.
So what are you trying to do after they fill out the form? Are you trying to schedule them in?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
why don't you just have that schedule in the jot form?
Because, well, I mean, everyone's process is different, so it could take anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours to do their hair. So I think that's one of the issues, because it's not like you could just click on something that takes like an hour. Like, if someone's scheduling themselves, they have to schedule. I don't know. I mean,
So you could create something on there that says if you're scheduling for this, it takes this long, and you could schedule, like on Calendly, you can create different abilities to schedule different things. So
Yeah.
if you're doing a blowout that takes 2 hours, you name that thing the blowout, and they schedule the blowout, and that takes 2 hours, and it will show your calendar, and they can only schedule in spaces where there's 2 hours.
No, I know I have Square Booking and I have all my services on there.
Uh-huh.
But like, some people, if they are doing a blowout, a Brazilian blowout,
Mhm.
like if I did Roxanne's hair, that might take 2 hours. But there are some people that have a lot of hair and it would take 5 hours. Like, that's just a hypothetical situation.
Okay.
So that's kind of why they have to at least talk. They can schedule, but they have to talk to me at some point. And I do want but then the other thing is that, like, in Square,
Uh-huh.
the longer services, it's hard for people to find room on my calendar because of how long the service is. So if I have one client for that day and then someone wants to book in a long service,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't translate very well.
Okay. So you need to qualify them in such a way that it's automated.
Yeah, right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So there's always a way to do that. If, let's say, they have a lot of hair, you could have them check boxes that say, is your hair short, medium, or long?
Right.
And by going through this automation, then it will tell them this is what you need to schedule.
Oh, okay, how do I do that? Is it like a bot, or is it?
No, it would just be a part of like a form that you create. And you could even just say, even at the bottom, hey, if this is what you're scheduling, if your hair is this long, schedule for this long. Or even your products, if it's in your Square scheduling thing, you could create 3 different versions of the same product: short, medium, or long hair.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Mm-hmm. How did that work?
People get all confused.
People get
But-
confused.
But
Okay.
they get confused anyway but maybe, like you said, at the bottom of like after they fill out the jot form,
Yep.
at the bottom, then then they can look back at their own form
Yes.
and make their own decision about what they should book.
Yes.
And then, like you said.
Yes, exactly right. So if you have it at the bottom and you have it as the scheduling thing, now it creates a little bit less confusion.
Yes. Okay, that helps.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would prefer they go in and schedule anyway because they need their credit card information.
Right.
Because when I schedule, I don't get their credit card information, and then they can no-show, and that's a whole day of.
Well, make sure you get their credit card information.
No, yeah. So I'd rather they go and book their own
Yeah.
appointment.
Yeah, have them book it and have them put their credit card info in there.
Okay. Okay, that helps me. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Yeah.
I think we may do the online program creation. I might do a scheduled event on Thursday at night.
Oh, you are?
I think I may do that. So let me know if that's something that interests you.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
I really liked the event last Thursday. That helped me a lot.
Did it?
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do that same one again, just to make sure everybody is really on the same page. Because I'm actually going to do a whole series, basically the whole uncovery for everybody. So people like you, like who are already in the program, can come for free. People who are not in the program, I'll actually charge a little bit of money to come to, like $50 or something for each of them, so that they can, like, and I may even get people like journals so that they can write the stuff down in it. So.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. And it was fun to have Ginger there. Poor thing.
Which one was Ginger?
She was the redhead.
Oh yeah, I know.
yeah.
I felt so bad.
Yeah. But
Oh well.
but I get it. She has some trauma that she's dealing with, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We all have some trauma, so.
And you are the best at making people feel comfortable and like they belong.
Oh, good. Good. I hope so.
Yeah, you responded very well.
Good. Good. I think everybody responded well. I think everybody was able to help her feel included.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it was fantastic. So. Cool. Annie, is there anything else I can do for you?
No, I just need to get my I'm going through a really big transition. I lost my boyfriend.
Okay.
I've lost my son, my dog. Like, it's just.
Jeez.
I'm really struggling. And then my son's, we found that he's self-medicating with some over-the-counter thing. I got to see him for about 4 hours, and
Okay.
he used some weird thing that he stole from the pharmacy, some kind of natural GABA thing.
Okay.
Which means he's trying to medicate himself again.
Truthfully, we all try and medicate ourselves. Like that was what my post this morning was about, was happiness is in here. All the other stuff is distractions. All the other stuff is we're trying to do external things to medicate ourselves. Like
That's so true.
even a boyfriend, even CBD, like all of the things that we're trying to do, those are all like self-medication.
All our dopamine.
Yeah. Like if we can get clear in here, like get rid of the boyfriend, get rid of going to the movies, get rid of all of those things, and if we just sit in, I'm reading a book called The Art of Communication, but if we sit in, he's a Buddhist, and he calls it the suffering. If we just sit in that suffering for a minute, that suffering will tell us what it is. And then we have a chance to deal with the actual pain, the actual suffering that we're trying to medicate.
Yeah, I need to do that more. I mean, I have my own addiction issues that I'm dealing with right now too, which I need to.
Everybody does, and I hate calling them addictions, because addiction is such a charged word. Really, it is self-medication. It is how do we distract ourselves from the pain in our life, and really the only way to overcome the pain in our life is to actually face it.
Yeah, you're right.
And sit with it. Sit in the pain. Sit in the suffering, and let it speak to you.
Yeah.
And then it can clarify what it is, and then you can figure it out. Like if you're just sitting there and you're lonely, okay, well, why am I lonely? What is this really about?
Yeah.
Because the truth is, you should be 100% happy just being there by yourself.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think.
Yeah. Not that I'm not perfect there either, but I'm learning.
Yeah. Yeah. It's progress.
Yeah. Yeah. And any progress you make is going to make you happy anyway.
True.
It's really about the journey, not the destination. The destination, you get there and you feel great for a couple of minutes, and then you're like, okay, now what?
So true.
And in fact, the destination will create even more desires in you, which will create more problems. So you might as well enjoy the journey anyway.
This is true. You have a point there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the growth that I'm on as well.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think everybody's kind of in there. I think, well, that's not true. Most people are not intentional about overcoming their suffering. Most people are not intentional about overcoming their trauma.
This is true. That is true.
Even in the self-help world, it's funny to see people use crystals and do sound baths and do all these external things to try and improve themselves when all those things are still distractions to the pain and the suffering.
Yeah.
And you can't feel them really unless you just sit with yourself for a minute and breathe.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to do that more and stop avoiding. I don't know what I'm so afraid of.
Everybody is, though. It's a strange
Yeah.
place to be with yourself only.
You're right. Yeah.
Because, you know, what if that is dangerous? What if you just get really depressed? What if, you know, like...
Yeah.
And that is possible, but that's not a bad place to be. If you get really depressed, you can actually get a lot more clear about why you're depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's scary. I get it.
I know, right?
I get it. I think it's scary for everybody.
You gotta face the internal demons.
That's it.
Yeah.
The demons within. But
What's
truthfully,
that called, your book?
The Art of Communication.
The Art of Communication.
Yeah.
It's a Buddhist book.
Yeah, the guy's a Buddhist, and it's really intriguing. I've really enjoyed it a lot. And it talks about loving listening and loving speaking, and the idea behind the whole book is how do we interact with ourselves and with other people in a way that reduces suffering.
Yeah.
And, you know, suffering can be trauma or whatever you call it. But the way to listen lovingly is, he talks about you allow them to speak as long as they need to without interjecting anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, if you can go for a half an hour, that's a really good amount of time to allow them to talk and to not interject anything. You could possibly ask a question if you want to help them to speak more. But for the most part, you just allow them to talk, and that's loving speech, that's loving listening, in order to allow them to feel less suffering. Because when someone's understood, they feel less suffering.
So true.
And the other part is loving speech, which is there's steps to it, and I can't remember all of them, but you always have to be honest. You never exaggerate. You always have to be consistent with how you speak about another person. So you don't speak about that person one way to this person, and you speak about them another way to this person. You're always consistent about how you speak about that person.
Interesting.
And the intent should always be to lessen the suffering of other people. So really, really interesting. I'm really enjoying the book a lot.
Oh, I'll maybe go get it. I need to buy some Audibles.
There you go. There
I
you
need
go.
to use my credits.
Yeah, Art of Communication. So, and I can't remember the author's name. It's three names. And then the last one's like Than, Thanh or something. So it's an Oriental looking name.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, Annie. It's going to be an amazing week. Happy Independence Day.
Thanks. Likewise. Have fun.
Okay. Take care.
Have fun with your family.
Oh, I will. Are you going to be here Wednesday?
Unless I have clients, but I don't think I'm very busy. So yes,
Great.
I'll be there.
We're going to put Patriot on the screens, and we're going to do some fireworks, and it'll be fun.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. We'll see you,
Nice
Annie.
talking to you.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.